We're ready. I think we're ready. It says it's streaming, Katie.
Yeah, good to go.
There's only a legal.
Go ahead, Alex.
We'll officially start. We'll tally the committee's decision what we do on the start.
I've just apologies for arriving late. I'm to notify, and it's with the wire act saying community distrust. As I know, a member of the organisation.
So just limit yourself to conversations nicely. We've also had Garrick declare the race possible for the racetrack. I don't know how much money's involved. Just for my Stella to restart the computer.
I think a name will go through the link. I think they'll change the start. Yes. My computer going out. Cost of the
Okay, we're just waiting on Pam. She's
okay.
slowly it's coming. So we'll start on, we all okay starting on youth grants first and then moving on to community grants.
Yeah. So that you go through the paper that we use here because that'll give us the figures for the what we've actually got in the way of money and things like that. Because that's what I was looking for when the whole thing jammed up.
Well, I've got it here. So the youth have got 95,000.
Yeah. Yeah, I've got all that. I've got it on there, but I think that we have to receive all this before we can start deliberating on it. Is that on Stella?
My Stella's acting. Sorry. Yeah, my Stella's acting.
So that's Stella.
See,
Grants Subcommittee, there we go, youth grant system sheets.
but it was the paper that Amanda prepared.
Yeah.
On Stella.
It's that first one.
Oh, again, there.
This one.
School report grant funding.
Yeah, is this it here?
No.
Oh, no.
No, it was. No, that is. It was
The report.
You didn't know that you did just Stella.
It started downloading stuff.
Do you want me to give you this?
no, no.
Yeah, so it should be at the beginning.
So
Is that it there? Okay, perfect. Thanks you.
No, okay, it's brilliant.
Just trying to reading it. You're still.
I thought it was broken, and then I don't know what they're doing.
Check this.
I'm going to go back to what I decided to do for the individual.
So, did you know, that it was getting.
Yeah, that was it, and I can actually put in Stella telling to be able to go down and look at them.
Oh,
Yeah.
So, I correct.
So when we put this on the email, but it was a screenshot.
Yep, that's what we need to set up.
So this just overview the community, and so we have 170,000 community grants, 75 for youth grants. So available for distribution is 53,245 community grants and 95,762 for youth grants due to MOU funding year on year. So, yes, yep.
I'll see you there.
All those in favour, please say aye. Aye. All those against, the motion is carried. Right, so I think we'll go start off with from the youth perspective, the Wairarapa Road Safety Council grants, if you want to bring that up.
I'm just going to enjoy my speech.
Road safety.
My record. So I was thinking that there was that recorded. Yeah. For credit.
I'm not sure that,
There was anymore.
I know that certainly we have an issue, actually, now we can train it as much as we like, but we can probably eventually get them through BTNZ to actually have the driver license. So only one trainer or less. So on this one here,
Number 2. So is this the thing that previously?
we didn't grant this last year. We assisted in funding through used to work because of the improvements of driver license. It's included $5,000.
These customers for jobs link into that road safety.
It's been identified right through the country of rural customers for jobs that driver licensing is the biggest barrier to getting sustainable full-time employment. So that's sort of there is 2 driver licensing vehicles available. Vehicles in the abstract term. One is via come on in. Yep. One is via the Kundui, which have their own driver licensing program, and there's also the road safety, which so, but however, we have recognised that they play an important part, especially for non-rural youth.
I guess, was that whole, like, I'm just wondering, yeah, does it like, would it have to come from a grant, or would it actually?
It could still, that's what, I think there was a bit of confusion. The mayor of Castle's jobs funded the 5,000, and I spoke to Bruce Pauling, and he said, no, you can't do it. It's not, we're not going to prioritise more tasks for jobs applicants. We felt that that is council's funding. So we were okay with it, but in the future, I think it's a secret. Non-council. We certainly need to consider this as it's so they're I'm just clear. So the fund requesting $5,000 is the same as last year, which was the same as we gave in 2020.
Yeah.
It's a massive issue. I think Alistair was sitting here and saying, as a magistrate, he sees driver licensing as the first introduction to courts.
Is there a way that we could mark some of these, because yes, we did 2020, 21, and I'm just wondering, perhaps we could look at marking some of these as a 5,000 MOU.
We can't this year.
Not this year, marking them going forward, so that way with the next,
The next training, they would need to apply for an MOU. So it's
Oh, so they yeah, yeah. But so the road safety council would need to look at applying for ambulance. So we don't go out to the,
If we assume that this is a great use, so,
Well, perhaps comments, under the comment section, considering there's what the details say, recommend MOU for future.
yeah, that's what I'm saying, is there a way to maybe get to mark some of these? Because I think, Suzanne had, Suzanne had done something, she actually said that this is the previous same amounts. And that way, when the new council came on at the start of the training, we could see which ones that perhaps needed that MOU, knowing that it's the same amount. Even in the
that the new council, that's a criteria for them to look at.
Yeah. So when this council came on 3 years ago.
Yeah.
But that all that information was done for the first grant funding, so I think it would be really helpful to have exactly that same thing again for the new council.
Yep, we'll just note that. Right, so guys, what do we think on this one? Are we happy that it's an essential service that we should be contributing to?
And we got an obligation.
So do we think 5,000 is the correct amount that should be delivered, or should we be a lesser amount? I think we've seen that master does 10 and Castle does 5.
I'm getting it.
Yeah, it is in line with our rule of thumb funding, achieved co-funding.
Yeah.
So, okay, we'll just leave that as it is. And see what washes out. Margaret Kindergarten lines are requesting $7,000. What are people's thoughts on this?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think it's a great presentation. It makes logical sense. It's a long term.
Yeah.
It's not a one-off, 1 year asset.
Oh, yeah, I like how long that lasts.
Well, the last one's the last 2
Yeah.
years. 54 and a half.
I think it's better.
It might be they need to be replaced every 10, but they're even essential.
Yeah.
No,
I've got a problem. Currently, the annual repairs 900.
yes,
Anyway, it doesn't take too much, 7 years.
yeah, right, we'll just let that sit.
7,000 or 7,000. 7.
7 on our spreadsheet. Do we need-
They asked us to know why.
No, let's look at the funding application. But
It was 7, I think, but
Yeah.
7,000.
yeah, cool, yeah, right, let's just leave that. So, now, we're waiting for 207 for, we requested that they forward us.
Their accounts. They're not split out all.
No, that's very hard. And so it looks like they actually have the money.
Yeah.
And then when he says that that doesn't belong to them, belongs to the cricket. But if they're under the same thing, it's very
It's very difficult
Yeah.
to assess it without
Yeah.
being accurate.
It'd
Explicit.
be nice to separate.
So I'm just going to hang that until tomorrow.
Yeah.
And then we'll have that discussion at that
Yeah.
point in time. Amanda, you're okay with that? That makes sense, does it?
Was that a question to me?
That we
I'm
will.
struggling to hear, sorry.
Okay, with regards to 207, where we've requested additional financial separate from Martinborough Cricket.
Master.
Wairarapa Cricket.
Yeah.
And so therefore we're going to hold off the discussion until they're received.
Perfect.
Road Safety Education Limited.
Yeah.
Which is road, so let's move on to that. So that's 208.
Is that a new one?
It's another drive.
Is that new? That's one of the asking, if that's new, and they're wanting 1,000 big extras and why don't the safety council? Or I don't know, I don't just
So it's 208, if you were to pull that up.
See, they seem to kind of like.
I think it's very hand in hand.
Yeah.
It's very much a rotary run, ride was a rotary.
Is it?
Yeah.
So this,
Oops,
so this is developed in,
rotary used to ride.
so it's in conjunction, hand in hand with the Road Safety Council. So I actually think you might have to exclude yourself again.
So what does Roger, so the Rotary provides the majority of the funding.
Volunteer, right.
That's a teacher.
So currently we have vehicles on site.
Right.
And it makes it very accessible for students at Kurunui to go and do their driver training. They don't have to travel to Master.
And they're exceeding.
Yes, because of the growth of the school.
Yeah.
So they do work hand in hand. I don't think they've applied to us before. And I actually did ask Simon Fuller when I saw their car the other day, their driver car, what's going on with that, you know, and how do you work with the Road Safety Council?
So we're saying they're different or not?
Hand in hand.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
I think they do some of the. So we're looking for, it's not just the driving they do, they actually work with the children to mental ability, because it says the developing brain of children's making, and it's doing the exhibiting the behaviours that they have behind the wheel when they're driving.
Oh, yes.
I don't know this to do with any disabilities. It's to do with the fact that as youth mature, their brain develops a little bit.
Well, it's that too with predicting and anticipating.
That's right,
And
yeah.
you're getting angry when you're in the line
Yeah.
and things like that. That's sort of the journey of the program, yeah. And how to understand the relationship between speed and stopping and all that sort of thing. So it's actually more than just driving.
Yeah.
And if $1,000 is going to save one person's life on the road, it's $1,000 well spent.
Yes, exactly, absolutely, I agree, I think that's the thing, so, yeah.
On this though, there's a discrepancy. They're asking our organisation's contribution at 1651, and then they applied for 1,000. So I don't understand which one. Which one is the new one?
And your organisations is the amount of money that Ryder's putting in.
Oh, right, sorry, yes,
In the
so I think we're okay with 1,000. I think
Yeah.
positive contribution to our own secondary school. Would you like to consider that, given that we're giving 5,000 to the community, road safety, whether or not they should total 5,000, or we're happy with a total of 6,000?
Can we just go through and see what we want, what we
Yeah,
pay, what our total is at the
Okay.
end, and then we can jiggle from there.
Greytown early years.
Alex, would you mind if I spoke to this for a second?
Sure.
I haven't been involved in this particular application, but I have been involved in the last 8 years. And they are amazing at their fundraising. They don't regularly put hand up, and they just haven't fundraised consistently done it. But where that we think over the last few years is with the COVID raising. So certainly they're very, very good at raising money for themselves. I think that's
Is it like a kidney?
it's not for profit kindy.
Yeah. It's on the corner, just near the office.
McMaster.
Oh, okay.
Oh, not McMaster.
Yeah.
So I would certainly personally support this, because I think.
And it's also,
I second that, Councillor Hill. Just because I think it's really important, and also I think our early learning centres, you know, they do a lot of work with not a lot of funding. Yeah, I haven't seen a lot come through from Grants in the past, which is something else that's going to bring up, and I just think that what, you know, that's a great initiative, and I was not surprised at the small amount that they were asking for, so I'm more than happy to.
and I think,
The other thing is that they've actually demonstrated that they're trying to self-fund as much as possible. I mean, speaks a lot for it as well.
Yeah.
right, I think we'll leave that at 1,000. Right, Life Education Trust, which we have requesting $5,000. Harold,
Speaking from, and it's not personal experience, but advice that I've had from Tahi, I think this is actually a really important thing, because they do touch, you know, they've got a way of being able to get into schools and actually talk about mental health, which I think is really important when you look at how we build our youth, you know, what the suicide rates are and things like that, and to have something, something like this that's able to go in there and build more that's really open. So I just think it's really, really important, and it's fun. It's fun, and it's done in a way that's not scary or, you know, like so for me, I just think that healthy and it's really important.
I'm just concerned that no money is trickling down.
well, that's why you raise the Eastern and Central, and they are at risk because their donations have been hit over COVID. I would like to think that Tararua Marston will come to the party on this as well. But I think we should do our thing. But I also think we should, as a note, write a letter to the Ministry of Education requesting that they consider additional funding for this, as we see it as
I think it's a great idea.
Good idea.
Really good
I think
idea.
it's really.
And
Yeah.
I was blown away as well when she mentioned about the fact that they got the donation to get books, which they then had to pay to the Life Education Trust National Group to get those books.
But they've already been funded.
So $1.50 for their sitting there, and they had to pay them to get those books.
I think that's already been funded by somebody else. So
Yeah. No, it's, the instruction is different in as much as they're providing an umbrella administration support.
Yeah.
So I can see the way they've structured it, it's slightly different to what we do.
Oh,
But
that's on the nice.
She did say that the umbrella group work with the older students, the secondary schools and things like that. It's where the money goes, and it goes into training educators like Laura. So, you know, they use just splitting the funding.
But if you look at that, having residents in the South Road would benefit, Marble School, Tara School, Great House School, Edison School, South Edison, you know,
And they really go out.
this is why this money's there.
They really go out.
And I thought it was impressive the way she, Laura is the one of three family engineers.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that.
I
They're
think
very
it's
active.
totally warranted in schools.
Right, let's leave that at 5. We're spending.
I'm heading all this up on the spreadsheet.
Oh, you're
I've also calculated.
You're also
So, having an 80s technology that wears you.
Sorry.
I like that.
actually Excel can be. front of me, actually, so.
No, Excel was called Lotus 1, 2, 3, and it became
Oh,
Excel
yeah, that's old.
1994.
Oh, that's what it's here.
No, the program was there and they renamed it. Okay, we now move, sorry. No, moving on to 215.
Should we probably with the Marlborough Community Board?
Well, that's for us to discuss.
It's 2 weeks away, the next Marlborough Community Board meeting, and I look at this and.
That was exactly my.
That's only, yeah, that's why I was wondering, because it's a $750 amount for a trip for under 11s, which would normally sit with the community. boards.
No,
We don't.
We don't do.
Oh,
Or
So let's say, sorry,
I think it might be overseas travel.
It's travel to Tapa.
yes.
No, I think that, I think that the policy funding overseas travel.
Yeah, we overseas.
So are we comfortable with referring this? Would it be eligible for the Martin Community Board to?
Only if it's
yeah, but they just got the new long funding money.
Yeah,
On the first July.
Yeah, okay.
So they.
I think maybe
Because we're in the meantime.
It's the maximum of these grants.
No, unless special resolution, but it's, yeah, but it's not more damage.
It is overseas.
So we referring them to.
Refer to MCD. Look, it's up to us to decide that. Look, in certain situations, you could look at how much fundraise, what the cost is, what they fundraise, what they're slightly short, but it's good for the whole community for kids to get out of the district. So that's up, we can make that call. And you certainly
Anyway, that one's going to community board.
But with the guys to kind of like, funding, like, so do you, council, so approved to the actions for them already, so.
yeah, no, as we said, it's only overseas travel is excluded, so. That's.
So, you know, we do good for, we do actually good picture vouchers for the sports class and stuff.
Yeah, well, that's right, so it could be, and that's what they're asking for, field vouchers.
Okay, that's on. So we're on to 16.
Pump track.
This is our biggest one. Around the table, thought, so we had a presentation, great idea, they haven't come to us previously.
It's a great idea.
I'd like to know what the discussion has been with regards to Pain Farm. And what that's looking like for this, because in the past, you know, there has been a lot of talk about it being fundraised. And so the whole lot when we have asked in the past. So Amanda, if you're able to help with that, that'd be great.
That at one stage they were talking about doing an application for 100,000 to the farm.
I've got actually probably a bigger question. She mentioned that it was requested that she doesn't apply within the annual plan for funding, much like we have done on various projects. And I'm wondering why, because I don't think that came through assets and services or
But you can read it. So it's a little bit confusing.
I
Just like
I
a
was
clarification.
I was confused right at the beginning why we weren't seeing an application to go into our LTP, much the same as the Greytown site, Wheels Park. That this wouldn't be on the same par with that, or a repair of this is the same par. But to go into the LTP, that's just maintenance. But why aren't they? Why is this a large budget item within our LTP? Or being consulted on with?
I think so, just put the funding together, didn't you say that?
I felt that it sounded like there
And
was
it's
conversation.
a lot of volunteer work that's going to happen. And then, so they're getting people who have said that they will provide this, this and this. So what's the exact number they need? Can we? Charlotte and spoken to her with regards to Pain Farm funding as well as this funding. And I'd just like to know what the conversation has been.
She wanted to know, would they be out, when the next Pain Farm funding round was going to happen. And I explained that the policy was under review and we just needed some time to get that piece of work done before we went out for a funding round. I've been having conversations with Karen, our GM of finance, about it, and Katie and I have been having ongoing conversations about it. We've been talking to the amenities team as well about it. It's quite complex. So when I talked to Charlotte, I just basically gave her a heads up that there would be an opportunity coming up in the future. I also said that the grants policy more broadly needed a bit of a tweak because it's quite, I feel like it's quite hard to give good guidance on where the appropriate place to apply for is.
Right.
There's a lot of lack of clarity for applicants to understand what our grants processes are and where their best, where the best opportunity, most logical place for them to apply is. It's not very clear. So that's some of the stuff that we need to sort out going forward, and we're working on it now.
I'm just wondering because when she said that because the amount that they're applying for was quite a significant amount in here.
Yep.
And here, and then not knowing what further they're looking at from basically the council or the community board, which, I just want to make, I guess it's not clear when she said about getting all of the additional volunteer and et cetera. The last thing we want to do is actually given, like, we need to know what that's going towards, like what.
Yeah, we don't have clarity on that. And I guess my best piece of advice would be make a decision based on what you think is right in the circumstances. And then I think once we cascade into other opportunities,
yes.
Those committees would then need to look at the decision that you've already made. That would be my best advice, because I can't predict the future. I can't predict, what the agreement by the new council might be on the new policy.
Can I add something into that? Charlotte did say that she wasn't taking into account at this point in time what people were going to donate in time and things like that, because they need to have the money if they have to pay for it, and that doesn't come to fruition. So at this stage, they're looking at a cost of 300,000, and to do that and to get it up and running this year, and anything that they can save can then be used to doing the plantings and things like that, the beautification around it. This 300,000 gets the actual asphalt and things like that down and able to be used by everybody.
So there may be a call on for additional funds just for.
To continue on, that's my question, because I'm just looking at the amount that will be rather than 35 and 10%, it's a lot of money.
She was talking 205.
Yeah, brilliant.
Amanda, this question for you. Just following on from what has been saying, and I'm not quite sure on how accurate it is, if the Pain Farm revenue is currently not being utilised, does it mean that the Pain Farm revenue is slowly ticking up? So when the money does become available, we can be
well, you could probably answer that, Amanda. I think I know the answer to this. So it's perfect.
There's been a considerable amount of investment into the Pain Farm because of legislative requirements to get the property up to scratch for rental. We've also got the planting that needs to happen due to the water race running through the property. There's quite a bit of overhead at the moment. Now that might settle down in time, hopefully.
It's currently not a large fund with lots of calls on the current resources.
But it's not going down. It's about static at the moment.
Yeah,
Okay, no, that's fantastic, thank you.
So we make our decision independent of that.
Yeah. So currently the shortfall is 277,274. That has got, we've got no funding for that. And if you take into account even any volunteer materials, etc., it's not going to make a huge difference on that. So they've basically got none of that.
See, I would have loved this to have been in the LTP, but I think the timing was wrong. It really should have been in 2 years ago. And, but given that, and that they want to start and complete by April, May, June next year, that's not an LTP discussion.
No,
But doesn't mean it's not going to push it over the.
That's why we need an over the line.
It's,
So they're not going to get, therefore, 30,000 is actually not going to do it.
well, no, it will work because it's part of the whole process. They have quite an extensive community fundraising program over the next 6 months, which I know about. They're not sitting back and going, we're taking that money.
No, I'm just thinking, if the paying for
I can't see them raising, so let's assume we go 20,000.
I can't see
That
it.
would mean it's storage.
In which case the money would come back.
They will raise the money.
they will.
Yeah,
They will.
Look at what number of people put into this, and they're getting us not as much, but they are getting a really big support network within the where
Yeah,
private
but I'm assuming
people.
that means that we could 30,000 out of this budget.
Well, it's actually
It's
doing
actually not too bad because look, we've only got a shortfall of 2,000
over the total.
over the
request.
total of this youth budget.
No, I
So
want something else moved into.
Look, I get,
I have a question. Given that it's 277,000, is what the announcements that has been put into the thing. Why don't we look at doing 27,700 as a 10%, which is pretty standard really, for looking at getting things started with anything. Or do you feel that's too much? That's just my thoughts on being able to put a number.
Yeah. I'd be happy with 20 is the big one.
20,000?
Yeah. But I think going.
well, first of all, is everyone happy that we're funding this from this grant fund?
Okay,
Around the table?
I think Charlotte was pretty clear, making that they do what we
Considering that they do a lot of self-funding,
Yeah.
and they do a lot of self-funding, yeah, absolutely.
Well, Gareth,
Yeah, I'm happy, I'm just nervous.
we'll talk about the amount in the city. Yeah.
well, you've both given me confidence. You think that we
Oh,
are
yeah.
sticking
Yeah.
and so on that basis, this gives them a kickstart.
Yeah.
They just go to the next funding operation. So
Scott, because there's alternative funding available from council in addition, so depending on what's happening. And community board and beautification funds and et cetera, et cetera.
I do think we have to be quite mindful as to how much we get overall, and that needs to be monitored.
Totally.
And yeah.
And any grant funding requests will be monitored because they'll say, what are we
Give
giving?
them so-
Have we done it?
So we can weigh that up at the time. Right, so should we pop down as a placeholder amount 20,000 and we can revisit that once tomorrow when we start to play with numbers. Castleton Village Charitable Trust.
Yes. Yes.
I wish I asked more.
All the work they've given us, the
We're
exact number.
creating youth with South Waiata. Because I was worried when I saw the name. Initially.
Seriously,
And that was the biggest answer we set up was the 30 years.
that video is so good.
Giving us the-
I went to a presentation. So,
So,
And it's charitable.
yeah,
let's see how the numbers trickle down, but as a first stab of it, which we could reach, I would like to suggest 10 to 15,000.
we'll put down the amount and relook. I'm just worried about giving more than requested.
you can always come back.
Yeah,
Could I suggest that we make that 6955 for exit counting? I did what's going to say.
look, we'll let it as it sits. Okay, and I'm gonna write down revisit. Okay, at the end.
He's been so upfront.
Yeah.
It's not just task force, the jobs help with some of the.
I'm going to have a separate conversation with him about needs and support, so ignore that, but I will be going to this.
Just following on from Pam's comment, Katrina last year said, please don't give random numbers around from a financial point of view.
Yeah.
So, just we could just go.
7,000. Okay, cool. Tipperary Junior All Blacks. Now we've got uniforms. Yeah. Do we have a problem with uniforms?
We do.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, I thought the grants policy was.
I'm just going back to the grant funding report.
Yeah.
If I may.
We've done either.
Oh, it's actually Amanda might was not probably here. The sports uniforms, is that something that's better to be asked for through the community boards? For gear.
So I'll mention it here. I can state this. So sports teams travel or uniforms without evidence of an application being made to a gaming trust or other funding provider.
That's the one.
Or clear evidence of club contribution. Now we've seen the club contribution, so done it.
Yes.
Okay.
And they're representing the YRM.
Yeah. Look, it's we haven't. This is the first time I have seen to a rugby in general.
And apply.
Everything
themselves.
Yeah.
I think it's only in the whole time I've been in local body, it's been the second time I've been.
Yeah.
It's just.
So 2,500.
No, let's make it 2,600.
Yes.
So the organisation has contributed 1,276, so that makes it eligible.
Yes.
They have applied for the Rural Travel Fund before, but that's a separate fund.
Yeah.
And that was in 2019, so 3 years ago.
Oh, please, like, honestly, I read
I've
I've seen these parents wearing them, but when they say that these children are wearing the same ones, their parents will, they really are. It's like,
Get into their knees.
Look, I'm like personally to say yes. I don't think that's what happens. Yeah.
Am I allowed to go up to 2,600 just to round it up?
Yes.
We didn't round the last one up to accounting.
Katrina asked me to do this.
Yeah, it's quite a large amount, and should we see if they can fund it? I'm just going to play the devil's advocate whether or not 2,000 is a very good enough for uniforms, and just say they might just need to do a bit of that.
Can I?
I'm just thinking, I'm also thinking about previous applications for uniforms from other sports clubs. It is quite a large amount.
So we still have 2,000 now.
I think 2,000 on a revisit. How about that?
All right. Look at that. All right.
The balance of it is the difference, isn't it? So the total project's 3.8.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And over 50% funding was
Yeah,
pretty.
which is pretty.
Right. Featherston and Booktown. Another large amounts, but really effective.
And they provided all the information on what we went to last time and what this additional amount. They could almost break it down to the dollar of what this additional amount is going towards. So I think it's really
It is reaching outside the South Line.
Which is a great thing. with regards to their aims and operate, but I'm worried that I'm not seeing funding from
Yeah.
other councils or other organisations to
That's
assist.
she's going from.
She's going to Masterton.
She's coming up tonight, yeah.
The map here, she's included mass.
Oh, that's Black Cross.
Can we do this come to me?
No, Black Cross.
Yeah, it's
Many backgrounds.
Oh, okay, sorry. Okay. I thought it was whole. It's
Yeah,
not.
but she's including in the book down as well, yes.
so they would have a shortfall of 3,000, even with the 25. I'm inclined to say, I'm going to throw this out here as an opportunity to say a lesser amount subject to other council funding. To compensate.
I mean, 20K, so you can.
So I'd say 20K.
Because we can put them.
Not in, I wouldn't do it subject, but I'd say 25K subject to council funding, which might remove it from that amount, or give them 20K and say there's an expectation, there's a hope that the other councils will come on board.
Yeah.
I prefer that she's missed the funding around the CPC, so that option is gone, but she said she would pursue it next year.
Yeah.
Just one thing that I'm quite mindful of is that, how often have they come to council for funding? Amanda, do you know the answer to that? Eddiston, Brooktown.
Okay, so they come every year since they were established.
And they got an
And
email.
they've got an email for $10,000.
Yeah. That's my concern.
That's a big amount.
Yeah.
But what they've said is, what we said to them is, take what you're doing, we said a couple of years ago, take what you're doing in the youth and put into the youth fund and be really specific about what you're spending that much, which they
Can
have done.
expand across the whole
So-
city.
Which I get, but I think we still need to be mindful of the amount of money that local organisation is using throughout its life.
It's a good point, but if they're achieving the results
Yeah.
and no one else would fund them, ignore the name on it, and what are they doing? So,
And I think they're making reading very exciting.
They are.
Yeah, absolutely exciting and,
it tips into our libraries, books, programs.
Reading also gives young ones such skills and confidence, and I was a volunteer, not this year, last year, I covered every child's program, already psychology, a whole lot. And these children were just sitting there absolutely entranced, and such good writers coming.
I think, this might be the last year that we're almost sole funding this with their reach into other areas of the Wairarapa. I'd like to see that funding may reduce as other councils come on board.
Yeah.
But we've got to remember the economic value of Featherston in the South Wairarapa of us supporting this. It'd be lovely if this became self-supporting. But I think we're still in that embryonic stage.
Do we want to make mass not the whole?
No,
We found.
Oh, no, and they're going to go on our, yes.
Like, she's applying for that.
Yes, or no? This is Alexis. Right here.
I think, I think 20 is a lovely amount and it's increasing and it's progressive us along.
What was it last year? 15,
15.
20.
Yeah. I've written down.
So we're saying that a total of $30,000.
Yes.
For this.
Across the two.
Yeah.
But we did note that there is the expectation that they will apply for grants from us.
From other districts or organisations.
Yeah.
I think that the spin-off from this, by holding the worldwide
2024.
festival in
No,
Featherston
this-
is going to be.
It's not the festival. They hold the conference.
Sorry, the conference, yeah.
Separately from the book, and it's 2 events.
But that is putting South Wairarapa
Oh,
on the
that's
world
it.
map, isn't it? And along with
Yeah.
Headley's and Master.
I would be mindful that while we're continuing with that, at some stage it'd be nice to see a plan for non-council funding taking up what we're doing. Right, so we'll put that at 20 and we might just do a small revisit just to see how we're done with quantum. No, we don't even need
No.
to make that decision. Right. Okay, last Victoria Library, 223.
And they're wanting 1,550.
Yes, I'd say yes.
In my personal opinion, I think that twin libraries are very, very essential for the minds of little young ones. I know from that when I first moved to Evanston, I used the twin library like I was going out of actually everywhere.
Yeah.
It was great, just not to have the toys clutter up my house, you know.
But we also got to be mindful, and I agree, because we've got to be mindful of food strain, the ability to buy toys, and also having a constantly rotating interest with kids. I think they're becoming more important.
And waste minimisation.
Yes.
And this is going to towards a toy library party pack, which people can actually borrow or you know, fund from.
Yeah,
Adding more funds into the.
Is there any exchange between?
Not yet, could be a good idea.
That had to be, but you'd think everyone would have a certain.
Yeah, I would have thought
yeah.
I think we're all governed by the same body.
Okay.
Sorry, the council actually funds the running of it.
So the one of Evanston's at the community centre, so they have a community centre an amount to use their. Is it slightly separate? It's necessarily the end meeting room closest to the church.
Oh,
Yeah.
And it's just here in over.
Thank you. We've done that. We didn't see our presentation on 225.
It's photography course, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, they say it's more than decades, so.
Well, I had.
This is another one of the schools, going through the schools with creative capacity in the world.
And the numbers seem very low for some.
Yeah.
Yeah. Look, the indications this year have been quite targeted this year compared to previous years. This is one where it's tiptoeing down a line of business and council responsibility.
That as well, like there are the total cost of the project is £4,000 and asking for 3, and yet it seems like this would be something that if it's how I'm reading it, I'm a little bit confused as to why it's not a part of the MOE, like Ministry of Education. Yeah, it's very strange. Like talking about scholarships and. I'm a little bit confused.
I'm also, that they financially they're not putting it, and they're saying that the $1,000 that they're donating is time and effort as opposed to actual cash. It's a shame that you can come and present, that you might clarify. These issues.
I'm dubious that they myself.
Yeah, I'm not.
Based on the information we have in front of us, it's declined. Anyone disagree? And in moving on to 228, the Rhine River. Sorry.
So I just wanted to go about this question. That's haven't been done many, I think, like in Hampton or Masterton or anywhere either, but. So I mean, I guess this, we just ain't going to get on.
This is like to cogs, they've got 2,500 on cogs, which
Right.
does. That's, they've got 2,500. Are they outside funding?
It's a large, I mean, it's a bigger organisation around the country, really, isn't it? Kaitaia, Kapiti Coast, Upper Hutt.
I mean, I have to say, with hand on my heart, I was quite sceptical that last year that this would ever use council funding. But interestingly enough, they seem to have gone strength to strength. They seem to be
That's fine, we're happy to take all.
Oh,
No,
we don't need it.
I'm still on, okay, we're just finishing off. Okay. So
Oh,
another issue.
sorry, I'm sorry.
Okay, we'll move on.
We'll move
Move on.
Move on. Right, 28.
This.
Yeah.
225. It looks as though they use that in the school holidays as a collaboration and support for after school programs in the holidays, and it's teaching the youth at 7 years plus to write for a magazine and things, so
I would think that she come to talk about because it's really,
It's not enough information.
it's such a thing about.
The South Warwick specifically. So, we'll just put in the decline there, if we could note that, please present and apply next year, and to give us more. That is South Warwick specifically. Okay, so now we're on the decline there, and, yes, they presented to us previously, everything about ecological sense. And it's very school focused, worldwide cities. It actually fits, it fits in with our sustainability.
Absolutely.
I think we may have seen Minister McAnulty actually working away making these in the paper at one stage.
and Thunderpins, imagine them running workshops there.
Yes.
So they do great.
But then they just get like this.
Yeah, and they've done, and
Yeah.
and on that, I was skeptical last year that we should be having such a thing, but actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because they don't, it's really interesting, you know, they're so kind of calm and quiet. You don't realise the passion that they actually have until you actually see the practice in the film.
Don't mind.
I'm absolutely fine. I think they're a very small amount to,
It does seem to be a South Warwick initiative.
yeah.
Where are they based? They are based in Marlborough.
Let me just check.
That's good.
I think it might be Castle. Yeah, Parkway Castle.
Oh, yes, because the.
In fact, Rebecca's on there as the treasurer.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, someone keep the secretary and treasurer. Sorry, Rebecca, if we were.
I can vouch to that.
Yeah, they know.
So can I just share with you guys, we've spent, we've spent 69,150. We've got still 26,212 spent.
And we've got the not considered.
2,500.
Could I add in?
Yeah.
69,150.
72.55.
You've got 75.
72.55.
Okay, so I'll run through them and put it to my notes. 5,000, 7,000, 1,000 going to road safety, 1,000, 5,000, 20,000, 7,000, 2,000, 20,000,
2,600.
Yeah, 2,000.
to Harangi, junior all roads. We pulled that down to 2,000.
Oh.
Which one?
Yeah. 2,000.
Yeah.
Okay, well, we can change that, but I've written down 2,000 with the revisit. To revisit, I mean, discussion about the percentages over. So we're at 2,000 at the moment with the revisit,
Okay.
and then 3,000 for divine.
And 20.
20,000 before that.
And then
Oh,
Yeah. Then 0. Then 0.
That's where.
It didn't go down quite.
so what we haven't visited is 207, which is on hold pending financials.
Yep. We may need something.
We've also semi-parked the 20,000 of the 35,000 for the pump track to pump out to revisit. I've written down to say, what have we got left? Is this appropriate?
Yeah.
And we're going to revisit the Cardinal Village Charitable Trust in as much as we've given them 7K, but is there more we can do?
On that, if you know, ask more, we would really like to see a project, not just a.
Yeah, I'd rather expect for the 7,000 for what they've asked for.
Yeah.
So we're at, we've got 20.
What's that? We've got 23,212 speed.
Yeah.
And we've spent to date, based on the 72,560. So it was being put into this, I put it up to Northern, the day shift, exclude that.
Right, so rather than table, so there's a 10,000 application that we are on hold on.
Yes.
So just be careful of that. I think what we found last year was, I'm surprised at the number of applications. If you think of the pages and pages we did last year, this is a very now, there's some, but there's a lot less than normal, and I wonder whether there are applications that are
A lot of,
I even taking them to account. So, Pam.
Could we have a look, everybody have a look at information 210, which is the Wairarapa Youth Line?
Yep.
Yes.
Because I feel that should be under the youth one, not under the.
It's even on the name, isn't it?
Yeah.
So, I did that all over and stuff, so if we're going to take that out of the community one and put it into the youth one, then that's going to add, they're asking for 12,000, so we just have. Just trying to work out whether that's the right place for it, so I wanted everyone's opinion on whether they think it is a community one or whether they feel that should be a youth one.
Well, let's consider that now based on the name as a youth. Is that okay? Okay, Brenda.
We have considered the youth line in the past, grant applications. And back then they didn't really how much they were doing to start Wairarapa.
And that's exactly what I'm saying.
Oh,
Yeah, I'm going, we specifically asked how many residents, and there's no answer. It's not frustrating.
Yeah.
And it's also done, and Newsline, it's the same as, it's almost should be a central government funded community health initiative through the English County. I just can't understand this. It's a national program.
And they must be doing a lot of work in this area because Wairarapa has got one of the highest percentages of youth line in the whole country.
Yes, but yes,
But not to put any figures in is frustrating.
Perhaps they don't have some, perhaps they don't ask.
Yeah, I was just about to say, on various different lines, there's certain things that you keep broad.
Yeah.
So that you keep broad, so that way it gives them a feeling of confidentiality.
Started a question of this going on from there. So there is a second funding round. We don't see all this money.
Last year, exactly. I'm just thinking that you 210, I mean, it seems to me that what our colleagues at the Castle and Charitable Trust are doing is, you know, we've got the numbers, we know exactly what's going on, how many we look after.
But for me, with the youth line,
All right.
With COVID and everything, and using large increase in the youth who spend more time online and feeling more disengaged and alone.
If we go to page
10.
10 of their application. It is project specific as the 2 youth workers working in the Wairau. Masterton Council had donated 12. The waiting results are they've requested 12 and 2 from Castor. Why would we ask for 12?
Yeah.
So there must be a lot more people from South Wairau that they're dealing with, and they've actually.
Well, they didn't confirm it was. No.
Yeah. It does seem an inordinate amount in this
Yeah.
size of our population to be equal to Masterton. That was 3 times that.
Yep.
What that being the case, would we look at 3?
But if we used our normal funding division that we've agreed in the shared services, it would be closer to 6, but Carter has only been requested to 2.
Yeah.
I'm very confused over the rationale on how they did this.
Yeah. And justification to the company. Expect us to go.
I think, I mean, just when I say that more, one year is based on possibly the college. The college. This college is.
So the kids could actually be Carter and kids who go.
Yeah, no, because 40% of Curraville is Carter.
Yeah.
Look, I don't think, it's what I, actually, to be honest, I've spoken to certain DHB are contributing 30. But there's a lot of fundraising and community trusts and small monthly days, etc.
It's just a pretty big come here.
Yeah.
For a week, but
Can I suggest that we give something,
Yes.
but in line with Cassidy, Masterton sort of area?
So sorry, what are we doing now? We go back to.
I know Carlton has only 2.
No, this is still the youth
Can I,
line.
I would feel quite happy with 4.
Okay, it's a punt in a number, good.
oh, sorry, Gary, just for clarification, what we're doing is we're checking youth line into the youth grounding, and that's what we're.
So we've got 26 and the LS10.
Yeah.
So I'll be happy in line,
Great.
Four's great.
I'll be happy in line with 2, because we have the same number of residents in the South Wairau as Carterton does, or near enough, and so we.
But it might be that we might have the opinion that that's underfunded Castle, so we might have to
What you
follow
say,
that.
4. Yeah, it's like a third of what 4.
Garrett?
I think we're picking up the slack going forward. I think that's what.
Okay. Lee? It's still a lot less than Masterton, but
Yeah. 3 or 4. I think.
let's placeholder 4 and we can revisit.
Yeah.
I think
So
that's
what about
good.
the information?
Yeah.
So are we, so we all agree we're going to move this?
Then move it.
Move it to you and we've got a placeholder number of 4,000.
But I'd like to hear the kids in the South Wairau.
I'm going to take the point that we may not know because of anonymity and confidence.
Yeah, and that they're using it more on just how many youth there are up in the South Wairau.
And it is a project, so it is a Wairau specific project for 2 youth workers.
All right.
Actually, not paid much really for 30 hours a week.
plus they're adding in somebody to work with
Yeah.
baby loss. Clients as well.
4, Alex.
Yeah, 4, yeah, put that in there. Cool. So our total then pops up to
76,550, and it gives us a balance of about 19,212.
and we have a potential 10K to come to look at tomorrow. So let's hold that and let's go and have lunch, which has arrived.
Oh,
And then we'll move on to the next round.
well time.
Thank you, guys. I just got a note saying we had lunch.
Awesome.
Thank you, Kevin. We have lunch. Lunch.